Elder Counselor Ta Min's iridescent scales shimmered under the soft blue lights of the Galactic Council chamber as he leaned forward in his crystalline seat. His ancient eyes, having witnessed over 3 centuries of galactic politics, focused intently on the holographic display floating in the chamber center. The display showed a sharp, almost vertical line representing Earth's technological advancement over the past century. The chamber itself was a marvel of alien architecture, with its spiraling crystal spires and floating platforms where representatives from over 200 species sat in their specially designed seats. Some breathed different atmospheric mixtures, while others floated in liquid chambers. The diversity of life forms present would have stunned any human, except for Dr. Lee Min-ho, who maintained his perfect composure. "Look at this curve," Tai Min said, his translator converting his harmonic speech into standard galactic common. In mere decades, they went from primitive combustion engines to quantum computing. Their rate of advancement is unprecedented in our records. His scaled hand swept through the hologram, highlighting key technological milestones. Dr. Lee Min-ho sat quietly, his dark diplomatic suit a stark contrast to the exotic garments and natural coverings of the alien representatives around him. His neural interface silently recorded everything, transmitting encrypted data back to Earth's secure servers. As the first human representative to the Galactic Council, he knew his every movement was being watched and analyzed. Counselor Kim Jin-woo, a member of the celestial harmony species with their characteristic flowing tendrils and bioluminescent skin patterns, waved his upper appendages dismissively. "Elder Ta Min, with all due respect, you're seeing threats where none exist. The Terrans have barely established their first Mars colony. They're children playing with toys they barely understand." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the chamber. Several species displayed their approval through various biological signals. The luminous collective glowed brighter, while the vapor beings released pleased pheromones into their atmospheric chambers. Ta Min's scales darkened with frustration. "You ignore their military history at your peril. In their brief existence, they'd fought more wars among themselves than most species have in their entire recorded histories. Their ability to adapt and overcome is unmatched." "Precisely why they were granted observer status," interrupted another counselor, his crystalline form refracting light in patterns of disagreement. "We can guide their development, ensure they follow a peaceful path." Min-ho's lips curved slightly. His neural interface captured the subtle shifts in the chamber's political dynamics. Earth's intelligence agencies would find this fascinating. The aliens truly believed they could guide humanity's development. They hadn't realized that humans had already decoded most of their secure communications and had begun reverse engineering their technologies. "Tell me, Elder Ta Min." Kim Jin-woo's bioluminescence pulsed with what humans had learned was their equivalent of sarcasm. "What exactly do you think these humans could do? Their ships can barely reach their system's edge. Their weapons are primitive compared to our shield technologies." Ta Min rose from his seat, his full height impressive even among the varied species present. "They adapt. They learn. But most importantly, they think differently than any species we've encountered. While we seek harmony and consensus, they thrive on competition and conflict. They turn their wars into games, their games into training, and their training into real combat capabilities." The chamber grew quiet as Ta Min activated another hologram. "This is their entertainment media, what they call science fiction. For centuries, they've been imagining ways to fight wars in space, to overcome advanced civilizations, to survive against overwhelming odds. They don't just prepare for the future, they actively imagine and plan for thousands of possible scenarios." Min-ho watched as scenes from various human movies and games played in the chamber. He recognized strategies from these works already being implemented in Earth's secret military programs. The aliens were right to be concerned, but they were concerned far too late. A creative species, Kim Jin-woo conceded, but creativity alone isn't a threat. Their technology is centuries behind ours. Is it? Ta Min's voice carried an edge of warning. Or are they showing us what they want us to see? When was the last time any of our monitoring stations successfully penetrated their quantum encryption? When did we last get accurate readings on their energy signatures? Min-Ho's neural interface recorded the sudden spike in nervous indicators from several species. Finally, someone was asking the right questions, but Earth had calculated that such realizations would come too late to matter. The session ended with the Council voting to maintain current policies toward Earth, observation and gradual integration. As representatives filed out of the chamber, Min-Ho approached Elder Tamin. "Your concerns are noted, Elder," Min-Ho said softly, his translator perfectly reproducing the respectful harmonics of Tamin's species. "But perhaps some warnings are meant to go unheeded." Tamin's scales shifted to a deep blue of concern as he watched the human diplomat walk away. In all his centuries, he'd never met a species that smiled while delivering what sounded like a threat. As he returned to his quarters, he began composing a message to his people's military command. Someone needed to prepare for what he feared was coming. But even Tamin, with all his wisdom and foresight, didn't realize that his encrypted warning message was already being analyzed by Earth's AI systems before he'd finished composing it. Trade Commissioner Park Du-young stood on the command deck of his flagship, the Infinite Prosperity, as his fleet dropped out of hyperspace near the human colony of New Seoul. The sight of the small colony, with its modest orbital stations and minimal defensive platforms, brought a smile to his scaled face. "Look at their pitiful defenses," he said to his bridge crew, his translator converting his clicks and whistles into galactic standard. "Just as our intelligence reported, they haven't even deployed a proper energy shield grid." His fleet of 30 ships, each bearing the golden insignia of the Mercantile Alliance, moved into an attack formation. The colony below seemed peaceful, too peaceful, Du-young thought. The humans had established New Seoul just 3 years ago, and already it housed over 1 million colonists. The surface was dotted with gleaming domes and interconnected habitat structures, all seemingly vulnerable to orbital bombardment. "Send the standard trading rights demand," Du-young ordered. "Make sure they understand the consequences of refusal." His communications officer, a member of the crystalline species, transmitted the message using all known human frequencies. The response came faster than expected. A single text transmission. "Request denied. Please withdraw your forces immediately." Du-young's scales rippled with amusement. "Power up all weapon systems. Let's show these primitives how the galaxy really works." His fleet's energy signatures spiked as weapon systems charge, creating an impressive display of power that had convinced countless other young species to accept the Alliance's protective trade agreements. The first sign that something was wrong came from his sensor officer. "Sir, we're detecting unusual energy readings from the planet's surface. They don't match any known human technology." "Impossible." Du-young dismissed the concern. "Their energy capabilities are well documented. Proceed with the demonstration shot. Target their smallest orbital platform." Before the order could be carried out, space itself seemed to tear open. A human fleet emerged from hyperspace, led by the massive dreadnought Seoul's Vengeance. Admiral Song Jae-yun's voice came through on all channels, speaking perfect Alliance common. "This is your only warning. You have violated human space and demonstrated hostile intent." Du-young's confidence wavered for the first time. The human ships were nothing like the designs in Alliance databases. They were sleek, predatory, and radiated power signatures that his sensors couldn't even classify. "Launch fighters," he ordered, his voice betraying his growing unease. "Show them the might of the Alliance fleet." What happened next would be studied in military academies across the galaxy for decades to come. The human ships released what looked like small metallic objects, thousands of them. Du-young initially thought they were primitive missiles or fighter craft. "Sir, those aren't weapons," his tactical officer reported with growing panic. They're some kind of combat drones, and they're not following any known attack pattern." The drones moved like a living swarm, ignoring all standard combat logic. They didn't target weapons or engines first. Instead, they attached themselves to seemingly random points on Alliance ships. Du Young watched in horror as ship after ship in his fleet began reporting system failures. Impossible. Our cyber defenses are the best in the sector. But even as he spoke, his own flagship systems began to fail. Screens flickered with strange symbols as human quantum viruses tore through security protocols that had been considered unbreakable. Admiral Song's voice came through again, now on their internal communications somehow. The Galactic Council ignored warnings about us. You're about to understand why that was a mistake. Full retreat. Du Young ordered, but nothing responded. His ship's AI core had been completely compromised. Through failing view screens, he watched his fleet being systematically disabled by technology that shouldn't exist. In his final transmission, captured by Alliance emergency beacons, Du Young's voice shook with revelation. They let us think they were weak. They wanted us to come. This isn't a colony. It's a trap. The human drones, having disabled the entire Alliance fleet, formed a massive three-dimensional display visible to all ships. It showed a simple message in Alliance Common. Your ships are now under our control. Your crews will be treated well and returned to Alliance space. Your vessels will be kept as compensation for this unprovoked act of aggression. Future incidents will be met with less lenient responses. Admiral Song stood on her bridge, watching the Alliance crews being safely evacuated to holding facilities. Send word to Earth, she commanded. The demonstration was successful. The Mercantile Alliance took the bait exactly as predicted. Her first officer nodded. Should we reveal our actual defensive capabilities now? Song smiled. No, let them keep underestimating us. After all, this was just one colony, defended by a single response fleet. Let them wonder what we're hiding in the rest of our territory. As the Alliance crews were processed for return transport, they couldn't help but notice that the humans seemed almost disappointed. As if they had hoped for a real fight, a chance to show what they could really do. The thought sent chills through even the most seasoned Alliance veterans. Research Director Choi Yana stood before the assembled representatives of the Galactic Information Exchange, her holographic presentation showing scenes from Earth's numerous conflicts. The gathered aliens watched in stunned silence as images of human warfare through the ages played across the massive display. What you're seeing is not a compilation of different species' wars, Yana explained, her voice steady despite the gravity of her findings. These are all conflicts fought by humans against other humans. From their primitive weapon age to their nuclear era, they have never stopped fighting. They have only gotten better at it. The chamber, usually filled with the gentle hums and clicks of various species communicating, fell completely silent. A representative from the crystalline Concordat raised a light refracting appendage. How many wars are in your database? We've documented over 15,000 significant armed conflicts in their recorded history, Yana responded, triggering gasps and biological signs of distress from various species. But what's more concerning is how they treat warfare itself. She switched the display to show human military training exercises. They turn war into a game. Their children play with simulated combat systems. Their entertainment media is filled with scenarios of conflict and invasion. Every defeat teaches them new strategies. Every victory is analyzed for ways to improve. Ambassador Kang Hyunwoo watched from the back of the chamber as panic began to spread through the assembly. As Earth's diplomatic representative to the exchange, he could already see the political shockwaves forming. The recent defeat of the Mercantile Alliance had drawn attention to humanity, but these revelations were sparking something far more dangerous: fear. Their response to the Mercantile Alliance wasn't luck, Yana continued, showing footage from the New Seoul incident. Our analysis suggests they deliberately appeared vulnerable to draw in an attack. They wanted to demonstrate a fraction of their capabilities while keeping their true strength hidden. A vapor-based being floated forward, its mist-forming patterns of concern. How did we miss this during their integration evaluation? Because they showed us what we wanted to see, Yana explained. We looked for signs of aggression and military buildup using our standard metrics. But humans don't think like us. They've developed their technology and tactics in ways we never considered possible. In the following days, Ambassador Kang found himself increasingly isolated in diplomatic functions. Species that had once been eager to establish trade relations with Earth suddenly had scheduling conflicts. Technical exchange programs were postponed indefinitely. In his secure office, Kang reviewed reports from Earth's hidden observation networks. Secret meetings were taking place across the galaxy. Species that had been historic enemies were suddenly engaging in long private discussions. The pattern was clear. They were forming coalitions against humanity. "They're afraid," he wrote in his report to Earth's Central Command. "But they're making the same mistake the Mercantile Alliance did. They're acting on fear instead of understanding." Meanwhile, in a secure chamber deep within the Exchange's archives, Yana made another discovery. She found records of ancient species that had exhibited similar traits to humans: rapid advancement, adaptive capabilities, and a unique approach to warfare. All of these species were now extinct or had mysteriously vanished. "Director," her assistant called out, "you need to see this." They had found encrypted data about quarantine protocols for potentially dangerous species. The recommended action was immediate containment or elimination. Yana's hands trembled as she compiled her final report. The evidence was clear. Humanity's pattern of behavior matched every marker for species categorized as existential threats to galactic stability. But there was one crucial difference. Humans had already advanced too far to be contained. In various hidden locations across the galaxy, representatives from dozens of species were reaching the same conclusion. The human problem had to be dealt with before it was too late. None of them realized that their secret meetings weren't really secret at all. "Let them plan," Earth's Defense Council noted after reviewing Kang's reports. "Every move they make tells us more about their capabilities and limitations." The ripple effect of the Mercantile Alliance's defeat had turned into a wave of fear and paranoia. But like so many before them, Earth's potential enemies failed to understand a crucial aspect of human nature. Humans didn't just learn from their own wars. They learned from every conflict, real or imagined. And they had been imagining conflicts with advanced alien civilizations for centuries. As various species began their secret military buildups, humans continued to appear peaceful and diplomatic on the surface. But deep in their secure facilities, they watched, learned, and prepared. The galaxy was about to learn why Earth's history of constant warfare wasn't just a sign of aggression. It was a forge that had created something entirely new in the cosmos. A species that didn't just survive conflicts. It thrived on them. Coalition Commander Im Sang-min stood at the center of his command sphere, surrounded by holographic displays showing 12 battle fleets converging on human space. 2 years of secret preparation had led to this moment. The combined forces of 27 alien species moved in perfect synchronization, their ships emerging from hyperspace at precisely calculated points. The humans cannot possibly defend against simultaneous attacks on all their colonies, he declared to his assembled command staff. Our numerical superiority is absolute. Even their demonstrated drone technology cannot overcome these odds. The initial reports seemed to confirm his confidence. The coalition forces had achieved complete tactical surprise. Human defense stations and orbital platforms fell silent as the massive alien fleets entered their systems. Then everything changed. "Sir, we're detecting energy signatures throughout human space," his sensor officer reported, confusion evident in their harmonically translated voice. They're coming from everywhere. From the planets, the moons, even the asteroid fields." What the coalition forces had thought were simple mining operations and colonial outposts suddenly revealed their true nature. Massive warships emerged from within hollowed-out asteroids. Defense platforms previously hidden by quantum camouflage flickered into existence. Every human colony world bristled with weapons that defied known physics. Captain Han Ji-won sat in her neural command pod aboard the Earth dreadnought, humanity's reply. Her consciousness merged with the ship's AI systems, giving her simultaneous awareness of the entire battlefield. All battle groups, execute Protocol Omega. Show them what we've been hiding. The human response was unlike anything the galaxy had ever witnessed. Ships linked through quantum entanglement moved with impossible coordination. Drone swarms millions strong emerged from hidden bases, but most terrifying of all were the human vessels themselves, their hybrid AI-human crews reacting with both machine precision and human intuition. Impossible. Sang-Min watched as his carefully planned attack disintegrated. Their technology, they couldn't have developed this in secret, but they had. Every human colony, every mining operation, every seemingly civilian installation had been built with one purpose: to survive and win this exact type of attack. Earth had been preparing for this moment since they first reached the stars. Third Fleet is gone, Sang-Min's tactical officer reported, their crystalline form clouding with distress. Fourth and Seventh Fleets report complete system failures. Their quantum shields, the humans just walked right through them. Han J1's battle group carved through the alien formations like a scalpel. Her neural link allowed her to direct thousands of drones while simultaneously coordinating with other human commanders through the quantum network. Target their command and control systems, she ordered. Minimal casualties. We want survivors to spread the word. The Coalition's careful planning fell apart as they faced weapons and tactics they'd never imagined. Human ships seemed to predict their moves before they made them. Every standard combat doctrine they employed was countered before it could even begin. They're in our systems, the cry echoed across Coalition communications. Human quantum viruses, far more sophisticated than those used against the Mercantile Alliance, tore through alien cyber defenses. Ships found themselves locked out of their own control systems. Sang-Min watched in horror as reports of defeat came in from all directions. Fall back. All forces, emergency retreat. But even retreat proved difficult. Human forces had positioned themselves precisely to cut off escape routes, herding the alien fleets exactly where they wanted them. This is Captain Han J1 to all Coalition forces, her transmission cut through all encryption. Your attack on human space has failed. Power down your weapons and prepare to be boarded. Any further resistance will be met with significantly less restraint. From her neural pod, Jai-Wan allowed herself a small smile. The aliens had thought humanity's victory over the Mercantile Alliance was luck or simple technological superiority. They hadn't understood that humans had been preparing for full-scale interstellar war since they first learned they weren't alone in the universe. Sir, her AI interface reported, the Coalition commander is requesting terms of surrender. Standard protocol, Jai-Wan responded. Secure their weapons, treat their wounded, and prepare them for transport home. And make sure they understand. This was our restrained response. As Coalition crews were evacuated from their disabled ships, they saw something that terrified them more than their defeat. The humans were already adapting their tactics and technology based on the battle's data. They weren't just winning. They were learning, improving, evolving their warfare capabilities in real time. Sang-Min, watching the human efficiency from his captured command sphere, finally understood the truth. We never had a chance, he realized. Everything we knew about them was what they wanted us to know. Every weakness we thought we found was a carefully crafted illusion. In the aftermath, as human forces secured the battlefield, Jai-Wan transmitted a final message to Earth Command. Operation Revelation complete. The galaxy now understands exactly what they were warned about, waiting for further instructions. The response from Earth was simple: prepare for Phase 2, reconstruction and integration. It's time to show them why we prefer peace. Elder Ta-Min's entrance into the Galactic Council chamber brought immediate silence to the chaos of arguing representatives. His ancient scales, now dulled with age, caught the light as he moved slowly but purposefully to the central speaking platform. The defeat of the Coalition forces had thrown the galactic community into panic, and even species that had stayed neutral were now demanding answers. I told you once before about the humans, he began, his voice carrying the weight of centuries. "You didn't listen then. Perhaps now you will." His clawed hand activated the chamber's ancient archive systems, bringing up records so old that many of the younger representatives had never seen their like. Researcher Ba Su-jin stood beside him, her datapad containing the results of years studying human evolution. The chamber's holographic displays came to life, showing Earth in its earliest days, a violent, chaotic world of constant change and challenge. "Look at their homeworld," Taimin commanded. "Most spacefaring species evolved on stable planets with predictable environments. But Earth," he gestured to the displays showing massive geological events, extreme climate shifts, and devastating natural disasters. Earth should have prevented any intelligent life from developing. Instead, it created humanity. Su-jin stepped forward, her research expanding across the displays. "Most species evolved to fill a specific environmental niche. Humans evolved to adapt to any niche. Their planet forced them to constantly change, to overcome, to survive conditions that would have driven most species to extinction." The chamber erupted with questions until Taimin raised his hand for silence. "We have seen this pattern before," he revealed, accessing even older records. "Long ago, there were others like them. Species forged in similar crucibles. We called them the apex survivors." The historical records showed civilizations that had displayed similar traits to humanity: rapid advancement, incredible adaptability, and an almost instinctive grasp of warfare. But something had happened to these civilizations. They had vanished, leaving only mysteries behind. "What happened to these other species?" a representative asked, their crystalline form vibrating with anxiety. Taimin's scales darkened. "We don't know. Some believe they destroyed themselves. Others think they evolved beyond our understanding. But humans—" He paused, studying the assembled representatives. "Humans are different. They've learned from their own history. They understand their nature." Su-jin's data showed human biological adaptations. Their brains evolved to recognize patterns, to plan for future threats, to imagine countless scenarios. Even their entertainment prepares them for challenges they haven't faced yet. They don't just adapt to survive. They adapt to thrive. The chamber's displays showed scenes from Earth's history, humans surviving in every environment on their planet, from frozen wastelands to burning deserts. No other known species has this level of environmental adaptation. Su-jin explained. "They can survive almost anywhere, eat almost anything, and their technology only enhances these natural abilities." "But surely they have weaknesses," another representative insisted. "The Coalition's attack was exactly what they expected," Taimin interrupted. "Think. They had defense systems hidden throughout their territory. Their colonies were fortresses in disguise. They weren't just ready for an attack. They were waiting for it." Su-jin brought up new data showing human response times during the Coalition attack. Their neural AI hybrid systems didn't just defeat the Coalition forces. They predicted their tactics, adapted to their strategies, and improved their own capabilities during the battle itself. The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity hadn't just survived its harsh evolution. It had been shaped by it into something entirely new. A species that saw challenges as opportunities, that turned threats into advantages. "What do we do now?" someone finally asked. Taimin's ancient eyes swept the chamber. "We learn from our mistakes. The Coalition attacked out of fear, thinking humanity was a threat to be eliminated. But humans don't want to destroy us. They want to work with us. Their victory was precise, measured, designed to minimize casualties." Su-jin's final data set showed human reconstruction efforts already beginning in Coalition space. They're helping rebuild what was damaged, offering medical aid, even sharing some of their technology. They're showing us something crucial about their nature. "And what is that?" a representative asked. "That survival isn't just about being the strongest," Taimin answered. "It's about being able to change, to grow, to work together. Humans don't just survive. They help others survive too." That's what makes them truly unique among the apex survivors we've encountered. As the council session ended, Ta Min and Su Jin watched the representatives leave, many deep in thought. Will they understand this time? Su Jin asked quietly. They must, Ta Min replied, because humanity isn't going anywhere. And next time, they might not be so merciful. Professor Kim Min-ji stood before the emergency council, but instead of showing military data or battle footage, her presentation displayed human art. The great works of Earth's civilizations filled the chamber's holographic space. Paintings, sculptures, architecture, and music from countless human cultures. We've been looking at them wrong, she explained, as a symphony played softly in the background. We focused so much on their capacity for warfare that we missed something fundamental about their nature. The display shifted to show the same human societies that created devastating weapons, also building magnificent temples, writing profound philosophy, and creating breathtaking works of art. The emergency council members watched in fascination as she overlaid timelines of human development. Look at this pattern, Min-ji pointed out. During their most violent periods, they also produced their most beautiful creations. The same minds that designed weapons wrote poetry. The same hands that built warships crafted sculptures. Diplomat Lee Junho entered the chamber, fresh from his latest meeting with human representatives. His presence added weight to Min-ji's presentation. He had spent more time with humans than any other diplomat in the galaxy. Their duality confused us, Junho added, joining Min-ji at the presentation platform. We thought their capacity for violence made them unstable, dangerous. But it's the opposite. Their ability to embrace both creation and destruction gives them balance. The display showed human medical advances, many developed during wartime. They turned the tools of death into instruments of healing, Min-ji continued. Their combat medical techniques have saved countless lives in civilian hospitals. Their military communication systems have connected their world in ways we never imagined. A council member raised an appendage. But how can we trust a species capable of such violence? Junho smiled. Because they understand the cost of that violence better than anyone. Every human child learns about their wars, not to glorify them, but to remember their price. The display showed human war memorials, peace monuments, and museums dedicated to preventing conflict. Their art isn't separate from their warrior nature, Min-ji explained. It's part of the same whole. They create because they understand destruction. They value peace because they know war. Every piece of human art carries this understanding. The chamber filled with examples of human creativity. Their music ranging from gentle to fierce, their literature exploring both the heights of joy and depths of sorrow, their scientific achievements born from both curiosity and necessity. Yesterday, I witnessed something remarkable, Junho shared. A human diplomatic meeting began with classical music. Their ambassadors explained that understanding their art helps understand their people. They don't compartmentalize like we do. Everything is connected in their minds. Min-ji brought up new data. Their response to the coalition attack proves this. Look at their battle tactics. There's an artistry to them. They didn't just defeat their enemies. They orchestrated a complex performance of technology and strategy. Even their AI systems incorporate creative thinking alongside logical processing. The display showed human ships in formation, their movements almost dance-like in their precision. They turned space combat into a form of art, she explained. Each battle group moved like part of a symphony, each action precisely timed and coordinated. Junho stepped forward. But here's what really matters. After the battle, I saw human medical ships treating coalition casualties with the same care they gave their own wounded. Their warships transformed into rescue vessels. Their soldiers became peacekeepers and rebuilders. The council chamber was silent as they absorbed this new perspective. Human history flowed across the displays, wars leading to peace treaties, destruction giving birth to renaissance, conflict sparking innovation. They don't want us to submit, Junho revealed. In my last meeting, they proposed something unprecedented. a galactic cultural exchange. They want to learn our art, share their music, combine our technologies in ways neither of us imagined. Minji nodded. This is why they survived their crucible of evolution. Not just because they were strong or clever, but because they could imagine something better. Every time they faced extinction, they created new ways to live. Every time they encountered limits, they dreamed beyond them. The display showed human children learning both martial arts and musical instruments, scientists working on both weapons and medical cures, astronauts training as both warriors and explorers. We've been asking the wrong question, Junho concluded. We shouldn't ask how to defend against humanity. We should ask how to create with them. They don't want to conquer the galaxy. They want to make it more interesting. As the presentation ended, the Emergency Council began to understand. Humanity's greatest strength wasn't their technology or their warfare capabilities. It was their ability to hold opposing ideas in perfect balance, to create while destroying, to wage war while seeking peace, to remember the past while imagining the future. Perhaps, Minji suggested as the council members filed out, we should stop seeing them as potential enemies and start seeing them as they truly are. Artists who learned to fight, warriors who never forgot how to create, dreamers who learned to survive. Ambassador Park Hai-Jin walked through the transformed Galactic Council chamber, marveling at how much had changed in 10 years. Where once separate species sat in isolated environmental pods, now they mingled freely thanks to human-designed universal environmental fields. The chamber itself had been rebuilt using a combination of alien crystal technology and human quantum engineering. Her father had died in the coalition attack, defending Earth's colonies. Yet here she stood, working alongside the very species that had once tried to destroy humanity. The irony wasn't lost on her. It was exactly what her father had fought for, a chance for a better future. The Human Galactic Integration Project enters its final phase today, she announced to the assembled representatives. The chamber's new holographic system, a merger of 7 different species technologies, displayed the project's achievements across the stars. Elder Taemin watched from his retirement pod, his ancient scales now almost white with age. He remembered warning this very council about humanity's potential, though not even he had foreseen this outcome. The humans hadn't just survived, they had transformed galactic society itself. Look at what we've accomplished together, Hai-Jin continued, gesturing to the displays. They showed new hybrid cities where different species lived side by side. Ships powered by combined technologies that could cross the galaxy in days instead of weeks, and medical facilities that could treat any known species. 10 years ago, we fought each other, she reminded them. Today, we learn from each other. The displays showed human children studying alien art forms, while young aliens practiced human martial arts as a form of meditation. Cultural exchange programs had created new forms of music, art, and literature that no single species could have imagined alone. A former coalition commander, now serving as a joint fleet admiral, stepped forward. The humans taught us something we had forgotten, he admitted. Strength isn't about dominance. It's about adaptation and growth. Their hybrid AI systems showed us how to combine organic intuition with machine precision. Their art showed us how to see beauty in differences. Taemin watched as Hai-Jin activated the chamber's memory crystals, showing scenes from the past decade. Human quantum computing merged with alien crystal technology had solved problems that had puzzled the galaxy for millennia. Their combined medical knowledge had cured diseases that once decimated entire species. We remember those we lost, Hai-Jin said softly, her voice carrying to every corner of the chamber, human and alien alike. Their sacrifice taught us all that the cost of war is too high, but their legacy lives on in what we've built together. The displays showed the new Galactic Defense Force, ships crewed by multiple species, using technologies that represented the best of every civilization. Human tactical thinking, combined with alien technical expertise, had created defense systems that made large-scale war almost impossible. Our strength was never in our weapons, she continued. It was in our ability to imagine a better future and work toward it. Every species in this chamber has contributed something unique to our new society. Human adaptability, alien wisdom, shared dreams of what we could become together. Ta Min's scales shifted to a color of deep satisfaction as he watched. The humans had done more than survive. They had fulfilled the potential he had seen in them. They had taken the best aspects of every civilization and woven them into something entirely new. Today, we open the first Galactic University, Hyjin announced proudly, not just for sharing technology or knowledge, but for understanding each other. Every student will learn the history, art, and wisdom of all our species. Together, we will explore not just space, but the endless possibilities of our combined potential. The chamber erupted in signs of approval, light displays, pheromone releases, harmonic songs, and human applause, all mixing together in a symphony of unity. This was what victory really looked like, Hyjin thought. Not the defeat of enemies, but the creation of friends. Ta Min, watching the celebration, remembered his own warnings from years ago. He had been right about humanity's potential for destruction, but he had underestimated their capacity for creation. They had turned potential enemies into partners, transformed weapons into tools for peace, and showed the galaxy a new way forward. We choose to remember the past, Hyjin concluded, her words echoing through the chamber, not to hold onto old wounds, but to ensure we never repeat old mistakes. The future belongs to all of us, and together, we will make it brighter than any single species could imagine alone. As the session ended, Ta Min's retirement pod hovered closer to the platform. Hyjin bowed respectfully to the elder who had first understood humanity's true nature. Your father would be proud, he told her softly. You have all become more than we ever imagined possible. Hyjin smiled, watching the different species mixing freely in the chamber. That's the thing about humans, she replied. We never stop imagining what's possible. And now, neither does anyone else.